bro dudes who talk. That's us.
That's true. That's us. It's bro dudes. Do you want you want to do the intro?
No.
You haven't done the intro like 3 times, like for 3 months.
Yep.
God. All right. Fine. All right. Fair enough. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Four score and crap. This is why you have to do it.
I was. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Two Broken Thumbs. I'm your host, Cole's from Cole's Corner, and with me, as always, is James.
James from Cole's Corner.
I guess you'd be from Cole's Corner. I guess that would be
Yeah.
where you're from. If we were gonna be technical, we're from Ohio, but no one cares about that. Ohio's not real.
It's either not real or too real. Your choice.
James, I have a question for you. How is it to move to a place that wasn't real to another place that isn't real? How is that transition?
Great.
Yeah.
Well, there was no change, so it's
Yeah,
like
you kind of it
there's
just got
nothing
hotter.
to worry
I guess.
about.
It just got
Yeah.
hotter,
yeah. Like the seasons mechanic stopped working. It's just always summer.
Which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's always
Good.
nice and sunny and full of life and energy and not miserable ever.
It actually got down to like 50 a couple weeks ago. That was rough.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, we had a hard time with it.
I heard-
Everyone had to get out like their coats.
I heard apparently Texas had they shut down for like 3 inches of snow a while ago.
That sounds about right, yeah.
That sounds like Texas. Classic Texas.
I don't think that's unique to them. I think like most things,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina and adjacent are just closed down for snow.
That's fair. Well, we're not here talking about snow. Actually, we're here. This is a new year. It's a new year and a new us.
That's right.
Because usually we talk about bad movies, and we
That-
were, but we couldn't get the rights to the bad movies yet. So
That's right.
We had to do something crazy and out of our comfort zone. We had to watch a good movie.
Right. You say that. We've watched a lot of good movies on the show.
No, we've never watched a single good movie. Everything.
You know, this isn't even like our most recent. Like we recently watched a good DreamWorks movie.
Wait, no, what did we watch? Am I forgetting one?
So we watched
Yeah.
not Monsters vs. Aliens, the other one.
Oh, Megamind.
Yeah, that one.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
DreamWorks, right?
Yeah, that's
I know.
DreamWorks. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is DreamWorks. That's very old DreamWorks, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Back when the DreamWorks logo was the same, that was a transition. You like that segue?
Oh my God, that's so true. Because the movie we watched today had the new logo,
That's right.
and I got jump scared by the Boss Baby because the Boss Baby.
For some reason, that had to be there.
Yeah, they had like its own little theme. Like it added like a ba 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 ba, and I'm like, no, this implies you're gonna make more Boss Babies. Don't make more Boss Babies. We only need
We don't
two.
need that.
There's 2 and a TV show. We don't need all that.
There's a whole TV show.
Yeah, there's a TV show on Netflix apparently.
All right. Hey, maybe it's very good. You know.
Yeah, oh God, it might be.
Yeah.
No, we're here to talk about a movie that exists.
Mm-hmm. It has characters and plot and a title.
James, I got a question for you. What do you think of Shrek?
I like Shrek. Big fan of Shrek.
Mhm.
Shrek 1's great. Shrek 2, real great.
And then Shrek Forever
Yep,
After is...
it's nice that they quit after 2. Yeah.
I mean, Shrek Forever After is a great trilogy, like, finale, I think.
Oh yeah, a good conclusion.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
But I want to talk about specifically about with Shrek, because we're going to talk about the movie here in a second, but I want to, like, have a layered foundation.
Oh.
And it's always been, with Shrek in the series, it's always been about, like, subverting, like, fairy tale tropes, right?
Of course.
Shrek 1 was always about, like, there's no, like, prince in this one. Shrek is technically a prince because he rescues the princess, but he's not the trope that you expect. Because he's gross, he's dirty, he's not doing it because he's in love. He does it because it gets him what he wants to get on with his life. He only experiences love once he realizes that the princess is much like him, where she's not, like, fully, you know... I guess not the same trope, right? Everyone
Right.
has the tropes, but they kind of break the expectations of the trope.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and then while they do that, they also have like bits about certain characters from fairy tales that they make fun of, and it's always like it's always like in the first Shrek, it's always like the fairy tales with a punchline, and then there's like one soft moment, you know. Um,
Yeah.
Shrek 2 does something very similar. Once again, it takes like the trope of like fairy godmother and like change it completely. That's always been the idea of Puss in Boots, or not Puss. Oh, I just spoiled it, but
Nice.
thanks. It's always been the idea of Shrek, and even with Puss in Boots in the story, his whole thing was like he was a bounty hunter who like spreads gold and whatnot. And more specifically, he just gets his ass. When he's getting ass handed to him, he like gets hit by Shrek, and then he just is like, "All right, well, I'm with you guys now because I guess you guys are kind of cool." Um,
Right.
but yeah, we're talking about Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, not the first one because the first one's bad. And
And I haven't seen it.
much like I watched it recently to kind of get a feel of it, and it's so weird because like I just explained, Shrek 1, Shrek 2, and Shrek Forever After has like the fairy tale tropes that they mess with. Shrek for or Puss in Boots, it just feels kind of like, how do I put this? It just feels like an adventure movie, right? There's no like twist on any fairy tale. It's like Jack and the Beanstalk, but like it's just Jack and the Beanstalk, and they're just trying to get the golden goose. That's it.
Hmm. It's not like it's like a part of the IP, but then it doesn't do what the IP did originally. It's just kind
Yeah,
of like its own separate thing, which
yeah.
is fine for something new, but
It's a
it's weird when you take something that already exists and just like don't adhere to it.
yeah, it's a spin-off that like misses the point of the original series. Like if it was a
Hmm.
Shrek movie, I don't think I think we would still only say there's three of them. Four would be ridiculous. There should only be three.
Right.
Um,
I'm unaware of any quadrilogies.
yeah, that'd be silly.
Mhm.
But the big thing I wanted to bring up with all this is the importance of like subverting the stories. And Puss in Boots: Last Wish, which is what we're talking about today, does this. It actually does that in the film, I think. At least a lot better than the first one did, which isn't really hard to say or anything.
All right.
I think that's a good.
Like I said,
Yeah.
haven't seen the first one, but I'm
Well,
happy to take your word for it.
I mean, I was going to point out because I mean we could talk about them later, but I want to point out that it. Wait, hold on, whoa, hold on. Okay,
Okay.
I thought the guy who was Did you ever see The Fanatic?
No.
Okay, there's a guy in The Fanatic, like the main actor, who's just like a really shitty actor. I thought he was in this movie too, but no, I was wrong. I was mistaken. Which okay, this is a fucking train wreck of an opening. James, take it from here. Take it from here. Talk about the film.
Take it from here. Talk
Yeah,
about the film.
yeah.
Understood. The film. Should we start working our way through, or?
I think I mean we really don't need to like set up anything beforehand. Apparently this is Joel Confrin's like first animated. No, it's not. Never mind. Yeah, no, go for it.
Joel Crawford.
He was the director of this
Yeah,
film.
this is the only work of his I have in the library, it looks like.
He's art development in Kung Fu Panda, which makes sense.
Oh yeah, that follows. Same company and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
See.
He seemed to have worked on a lot of the films from DreamWorks.
Yeah, it makes sense. Already
Mm.
inside in the company.
But it seems like it's his first. Yeah, actually, no, it is his first directing role.
Really?
Yeah, it seems so. I don't see
Oh.
anywhere else that he. I mean, he's. Oh, okay. It says he was director for Crude's A New Age. Okay, so he made a sequel. Okay, so this is his second work. Okay.
He's the sequel guy.
I guess so. Which I guess is not a bad thing if it's this quality.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. I heard good things about the Crudes too as well, but I didn't like. I don't know enough about I haven't watched the first Croods either. But yeah, we can jump into the movie, I guess, if we want to talk about what happens in it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if we need to go through the plot too much.
Yeah, I mean the plot's pretty simple. It's yeah, I'll let you take it.
I guess opens up. I think honestly exactly how it should, with Puss in Boots kind of having like his bit of his power fantasy. He's got all his fans there. He's singing a song. Everybody loves him. He gets to do his cool action bits. Fights a giant and a whole bunch of henchmen, and everything's real great for him. He's just like, on top of the world, having the time of his life. Absolute legend, as they say. And without getting too much into it, it concludes after him beating the giant with him getting killed
Mm-hmm.
by a bell. Gets the squish treatment. And then he wakes up in the doctor's office. Dr. Barber, Witchfinder, so on and so forth. We find out that he's got 9 lives, but he has used up 8 of them so far,
Uh,
which means he's down to 1.
yeah. Fun. So I want to point this out while we're here, because I'm gonna forget this. The detail in this movie is really great because during the fight with the giant, the bell that like he's swinging around, it rings 8 times. Like specifically, it rings 8 times, which is like
Ah,
foreshadowing of like obviously knowing how many deaths he had or how many lives he has lost at this point, with the 8th one being the one that kills him. And they have this like fun little montage where like they show each of his deaths, and honestly that like when I saw that in theaters it was the funniest shit. Like it's really fucking funny. Just it's so weird to have like death be something that's just brought up in a PG-13 movie like this casually. Hi, hello. We have sorry, we have a guest star. You want to say hi to the chat? There she is. There she is.
jeez.
Always bothering me in the middle of recordings. Yeah. Every time he dies, he like it shows how he passed away. It's just a very funny scene in general.
Yeah.
If there's another detail I was missing for that, but no, I think it was just the detail of the way that the bell told was very, very fun. Once you realize it, like on the third rewatch, you're like, oh shit.
I I've heard
Mm-hmm.
that you can see a character who's not come up with in the
Yep.
crowd in one of these scenes, and I'm
Yep.
trying to find it
It's the
now.
one when they're doing the wave. He's in the back left corner.
Are they still in the building at that point?
No, this is during the fight with the giant.
I'll look around a little bit.
Okay.
Anyway, something I suppose we could talk about during that time.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like all the fight scenes are in a lower frame rate
Yep.
than the rest of the movie.
They have all the fight scenes in a lower frame rate to give more emphasis on the action, which I really, really do love. Because it obviously at first it's very jarring because you're just like, oh, wait, the film's looking slower now. That's kind of like the obviously I'm not gonna say I didn't want to say the comparison, but I have to bring it up. The noir or Spider-Man, not Spider-Man noir, the Spider-Man
Oh, Spider-Verse.
yeah, Spider-Verse, thank you. Spider-Verse had like the slow frame rate for just everything, but this movie tried to take that concept and be like, hey, let's do it for just the fight scenes to give them more weight and emphasis. Because the idea is like, in animation, there are things like they're called still frames, right? You have a frame that shows the action about to happen, and then the next one. Think of like fliporamas from, what should we call it? The, oh my god, Captain Underpants. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Those like 2 frames would show like the action happening. Now, in an animated film, that's usually how they storyboard things. They go, this is the 1 frame, and this is what happens in the next one. And by having the slower frame rate, it gives that sort of emphasis, more of a push to it. Like I don't know if you've seen the scene, but the scene where he slams the the drink down on the table, it's up in the air one moment, and then he just slams it down. Like there's 1 frame that shows like the hand movement and then just the coffee.
Right.
But stuff like that is just so interesting and cool to do for a film like this, and it's one of those things I'm very excited to see more of what DreamWorks does. DreamWorks did this too with no, I don't think they did it for the bad guys. I think the bad guy was just animated normally, and I feel like that's why it had a unique animation style, but it feels like as time has gone on, DreamWorks is now trying to push more and more unique things with the style it's doing.
I think so. And as they should, you know?
Right. It's a medium that's currently getting more love and attention as time goes on, and I greatly appreciate that. And it's like being more experimental, and the slow frame rate is just it's such a nice idea.
Yeah. I'm rewatching the first bit of the fight scene right
Mm.
now, and I don't know, it's interesting because when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is happening during fight scenes. I like it, but I'm like, is difficult to identify exactly why.
Like I said, it's all about
I
like the.
think you're right. It's like a emphasis, sort of.
Mm,
You I want to say it gives more like power to and like precision to the characters.
yeah, it gives everything more weight, which I think is important because like every decision, every moment that like Puss is in danger, because the spoiler, like I said, he's on his ninth life or last life. So the emphasis is on he could die at any point here. That's why the like emphasis on the attacks and how he moves and everything is so important because at any point he could pass away.
Mhm.
Which he's not really concerned about until I think the next scene where he's at a bar drinking milk. And he's visited by a strange man who's very big and
Yeah.
tall, and is also a wolf. Which the movie's been out long enough. I think we could talk just without spoiler warning or anything, right?
Uh, it's fairly new, but yeah.
Um, so the wolf,
Spoilers from here on out.
I guess so. Yeah, the wolf is supposed to be death, like the embodiment of death. If you didn't learn that from us, I guess you haven't been on Twitter in forever. But yeah, he's supposed to be death himself. And the scene with him is another great like attention to detail moment. He's like when he gets there, he whistles and he looks at the glass, and inside the glass, if you see the scene, he sees Puss in the glass. So he's like admiring the fact that like Puss is there in the glass while talking to Puss, as well as the fact that Puss is on his once again ninth drink once he arrives. There's a lot of like little tiny details that aren't like you won't notice unless you like really pay attention to it.
Mhm.
Um, but he's like talking about how like he's a big fan and yada yada yada, and most importantly, he talks about how um, he's been watching him for a while, all that stuff, and it's basically because he's here to just kill him. He wants to just straight up kill Puss because he's like he doesn't give the reasoning yet, but his whole reason is that he never appreciated any of his other 8 lives. So what's the point of letting him have this ninth one?
And he sort of gives a reason
Mm,
because he pulls out the wanted picture and he like points at where it says dead
mm,
and wanted dead or alive, which is like, looking at it in hindsight, you see why that's happening. But at the
mm.
time, you're like, oh, this guy's clearly a bounty hunter here to get Puss. Hmm. Didn't like that phrasing.
That's
Anyway,
that's some weird phrasing, yeah.
mm, mm, it's doomed to happen at some point. Yeah. All right. Well, there's that. It's on the internet now, so that's good. Yep. All right.
I will help transition from that. I also want to say during the death scenes, in the corners was Death himself. Like they have on the corners of like the little papers, like the wolf with like the cape on, which again they didn't need to do, but they brought that so that when you rewatch the movie, you can see all those little details.
Ah. Yep. There he is. He's
Yeah,
got his two sickles. Yep. That's him.
yeah, it's such a weird little like nod, I guess, because we don't know who that character is. It just looks like a cool design.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
like,
mhm,
it's like a little like a card almost
mhm.
that it's on, so you could it like it blends, not blends in, but it looks like it's part of the border, and it works.
Yeah, it works really well.
Yeah, I only noticed it because you said something,
Mm-hmm.
and it was still hard to notice if you're like looking at the bottom. But
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, nice. Something else I like about the imagery, in a few different examples, death is when death is personified. He's got the two sickles, and the one that I was thinking about was Diablo 3, the Angel of Death has the two sickles. I was kind of thinking about that the whole time,
You're
and I
kind
was
of
like,
like,
ah, this is a nice little like nod, not to that specifically,
mm.
but like to the idea and the imagery.
I do
And
love the double sickle idea. I'm always a sucker for weapons that combine. I think that shit's cool as hell.
oh yeah,
Um, and yeah, the rework of death as being like that he still has like the sickles and everything, but it's like two-handed, like two one-handed weapons that he spins around. Every time that they clink, his eyes turn white. Like every little like thing like that is just so unique and cool. It's such a
hmm
cool weapon.
another thing I'm a big fan of this character's design. Another thing I'm appreciating about it, looking at it now, he is like, as the film goes on, he's scary in many or like I guess it's played up by him like his eyes kind of like pulsate red, or like you said they'll switch to white. There's a lot that goes on that makes him look a little extra scary, but when we first meet him he's like relatively normal, and I think that helps us, since Puss in Boots is not afraid of him at first, and then after their fight he does get cut, and then like from then on this guy's a lot scarier to him.
Well,
So it takes us on the journey with him.
the fight also, because this is one thing that like movies do, or you should do in a good movie. You should have the first encounter be something that tests the hero. Obviously, as you said, um, Puss in Boots is very egotistical, very self-centered, very full of himself and like very confident. Um, so because of that, he doesn't really consider the risk when heading into danger, and because of that, like Death literally just fucks with him. Like the first time they meet, he just fucks with him.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, he's definitely playing with his food,
yeah,
like taunting him and like just shutting him down.
yeah, and like all just to end with Puss having to run away because he's just like, fuck, I can't do anything. I legit can't do anything here.
Right. No winning this one.
Mm-hmm. He was
And
suggested.
then
Go ahead.
I was gonna say in the fight he gets cut on the top of the head,
Mm,
and we get a close up scene of the or a close up shot of like the blood running starting to run down his forehead,
mm.
and it's like we talked about the style of this already, but like this movie's really gorgeous and it looks so like real and impactful when that drop starts running down his face.
It's also weird to see because usually in like a PG-13 movie, when there's blood, it's just like from the nose or something. Like, but like this movie's just like, no, no, he
Right,
got
or
he.
just like a cut that's kind of red.
Mm-hmm. But that's just like the blood looks so like vividly real. I guess
Hmm.
the art style fits so well, and it's just nice to see. I remember when I first saw this in theaters and that scene happened, I was just like, oh fuck, oh he might,
Oh.
oh god. There's a real
Hmm.
sense of like fear in this movie, which I definitely love.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it portrays like the fear really well.
The shot when he's in like the bathroom because he tries to run away, he locks the door, and the shot of like the shadow of the wolf
Oh yeah,
going over top.
overtaking him.
Yep, it's so well done.
Yeah.
I think just visually, because we keep talking about the visuals, but we have to. It's an animated movie, and the visuals are phenomenal.
Hmm.
Um, like it's so worth seeing over and over again if you can. I think at this point he leaves to Mama Rosa's, right?
Yeah, once he gets out of the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
has his little Shawshank Redemption bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, ends up at Mama Rose's. Buries his stuff, his hat, boots, cape,
Mm-hmm.
belt.
He lost his sword.
Yeah.
And so the Mama Rosa was suggested to him by the. Uh,
Doctor.
yeah, sorry, I thought I heard knock. By the.
Me too, actually.
Did you? Did you hear a knock on my end? Someone knocking?
Yeah, something.
Okay, that's okay, 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 girl. Um, where is that? Oh yeah, yeah. The doctor, witch finder, and barber suggested to him that he goes to Mama Rosa's to be safe. And he goes there, and obviously she's a crazy cat lady because of course she is.
Right.
Um, and he now begins his new adventure as Pickles. When I first saw this in theaters, I thought this scene went on too long because he's in there for like I want to say like 10, 15 minutes maybe. But upon like,
Um,
how long is it for?
from the time he buries his stuff, that's at 19 minutes. Then looks like the Bears assault at 25, so 6 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's better on the rewatch than I remember. I thought like it lasted much longer than that. Damn.
Yeah, well,
Um,
yeah. Maybe it helps the movie really, because
yeah,
it definitely wants to give us the vibe of like, man, we're like, this is it. We're stuck here. This is how it all ends, you know?
yeah. I mean, I guess what I'm saying is it was really early for it to happen. Then I guess is what I was trying to say.
I think that's fair. Things this movie moves along pretty quickly,
Which it's not a
which
bad
makes
thing.
sense. It's
Yeah.
an hour and a half.
It really just like wants to keep the excitement going, which I definitely appreciate.
Mhm.
It just keeps pushing forward and keeps pushing. Which makes like yeah, the pacing's fast, but it does have times like slow down and talk about the film itself, which I think is important.
Oh yeah, me too.
Um, But yeah, he goes there and he meets a dog who is unwanted, and they have these scenes where they so far they think they've done it for Puss. I think just for Puss, right? And they only did it for Puss so far, where
Yeah.
they have like this wanted poster that keeps coming up, but for him it was an unwanted poster because nobody wants him.
Hmm.
Which I thought was a very oh no
Yeah,
because yeah.
it's a good visual gag. I
Mm-hmm.
like it a lot.
Um, we also learned that the three bears and Goldilocks are after Puss because they're trying to find where he's at. Um,
Hmm.
and they also had a reveal. Now, here's the thing. There's one thing I really don't like about this movie, and that's the jokes with Goldilocks. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Which ones?
The one that they always do with her and the bears, which is like too hot, two X, two Y, just right.
Ah,
It does get a little grating because it's like, yeah, it's the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's like, yeah, that's their thing. That's what they. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the thing they're known to do. But it's just kind of like they're also bears. You can do something with them being bears. You don't have to just make the joke of, you know, too
right.
hot, too cold, just right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Too much, too little. Yeah.
yeah,
I gotcha.
I didn't like it, but it's just like that's a nitpick, honestly.
Well, it's definitely something you'd expect to see a couple times,
Mm.
but they do it a lot. Like a lot, a lot.
Which I guess is important for her character, like for her character at the end of everything. But it's still like, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, much. Okay, there you go. I had a weird thing pop on my computer. I actually upgraded to Windows 11. Biggest mistake of my life.
I love that. I love that just happens on accident to people.
Well, because turned off my computer thinking if I turned it back on, everything would be the same. God forbid.
Oh, you silly boy.
I guess so. But the three bears were trying to find Puss because they wanted to help. They wanted him to get them the map to the last witch, which is like basically. So in this world, like there's fairy tales and everything.
You've all seen Thor: Love and Thunder, right?
I don't think I have still.
Oh, okay.
You want to explain
They
it?
also, but they also go somewhere for a wish in that movie.
Really?
This movie does it better, believe it or not. Yeah.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just silly.
Yeah. No. Somehow they did better than a Thor movie.
The
No, I will not elaborate.
I don't want you to. The concept of it is that in the world of Shrek, there's like fairy tale stories and like just nursery rhymes, yada yada yada, and most of them happen because of a wish. The last wish, obviously, is this is the last one that exists, and people are trying to find it in order to then like make their wish. So Puss is like, "Fuck yeah, I could go get my 9 lives back, so I'll have 18 whole lives." Which, like, great idea. Why not just wish for infinite lives? I don't.
Hey now.
I mean, I'm just saying. Um, but like that's his
I never
plan.
really established rules with it, like infinite wishes,
It's
all power.
one wish. Oh, you're right. They could ask for infinite wishes. That's true. I feel like
Yeah.
that's. I feel like that's a
I mean,
cheating move.
that's always the first thing I question. But yeah, I
Hmm.
feel like yeah, there's no need to get into that. I don't think.
No, let's do it. I think
Let's do
asking
it.
for infinite wishes is like asking someone who sells apples for infinite apples, right? It's a wish. It's a thing that just you can't ask for something that you already are getting, right? If you have an apple and you ask that apple for infinite apples, it's not how it works. You only get one apple. You can't ask one of something to give you infinite of something.
That's the point of the wish, right? It creates
Well,
something.
but you're using the wish to create more wishes. You always have one less wish because you're using that wish to create more wishes. You will never actually have infinite wishes because
Okay. Then
what?
how about 100 billion wishes?
Then you would have 100 billion wishes, but you used one, so you technically would have 999,999,999 wishes because you used one wish to get the billion wishes.
Well, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that still counts. You just have to keep a track of having 999,999,999
You know what?
wishes.
I don't think you do have to keep track.
I think you might.
I think you'll be okay.
I feel like you should keep track just to be safe.
I guess if you're giving yourself immortality, then you would need to. But
Mm.
that's a lot. Y- We can't conceive of 999 million of anything.
You
Like
probably
that's a
can't.
big
You
number.
probably can't. I can't.
Yeah,
You ever
I
see
have a
sand
feeling.
before? There's
I
999,999,999 grains of sand somewhere out
where
there. Somewhere.
where? Give me the screenshot that visualizes it.
All right, hold on. I got you.
All right.
You want to talk about more about the film while I do this?
Yeah, while Cole's going on this fool's errand, I'll continue. Puss and the dog escape.
Good, good, good.
They dig up his stuff and they go for it. They find out by eavesdropping upon Goldie and the bear. What the hell?
There it is.
Are you sure there's 999 million grains of sand there?
Yep, counted all of them.
You okay?
Hold on, I have a
So
better
if you took
visual.
one grain off every time you made a wish, like
Yeah, I'd notice.
All
I'd
right.
absolutely notice.
Sorry to announce, everybody, this is the last episode of Two Broken Thumbs.
Wait, hold on. Soriety's paradox? Wait, what is this? Oh, hold on. Sometimes known as the paradox of the heap is the paradox that results from vague predicates. Typical formulation involves a heap of sand from which grains are removed individually. With the assumption that removing a single grain does not cause a heap to become a non-heap, the paradox is to consider what happens when the process is repeated enough time that only one grain remains. Is it still a heap? If not, when did it change from a heap to a non-heap?
Hope everyone's taking trig because we are getting tangential here. Okay. That seems dumb. Let's talk about this. Surely there's a minimum amount of something required for it to become a heap.
Well, it depends. How much do you think a heap is?
I guess
How big do you think a heap is?
When someone mentions a heap of something, I always picture it being in a pyramid shape, right? So 5. 4 as a foundation and 1 on top in between them.
Do you think 5 is enough for a heap?
Yep.
I think 10, because then it's a bigger pile.
Why?
I think that's a handful of sand you've
Nah, if you walked
described.
into if I
That's a
stacked a bunch
handful,
of
not a heap.
plushies, if I stacked a bunch of 9 plushies up
Yeah,
against a wall, you would
yeah.
say it's a heap.
That would be a heap because they're bigger, but we're talking about sand. You're changing the
Wait,
argument.
so wait, the definition of heap doesn't rely on the amount of something, but
Well,
instead what the something
the
is?
paradox is required to talk about sand. It just typically involves a heap of sand. We could
Well, it
argue
says
plushies.
typically.
Yeah, plushies we could argue then. I would say a handful of plushies could be 3. And it all depends on the plushie size. Plushies are less reliable of a measurement than sand is.
We as a human civilization
Mm.
need to agree on how many is in a heap now.
It's dependent on the pile of the thing we're talking about.
Now, sand in particular.
Sand in particular,
The
I think it'd be 35.
35. That's the
35
number you've come
sane
to.
particles, yeah.
35 sand particles.
Yes, sand grains.
How about grains of sand? Okay,
Yeah,
those two things are way different.
yeah.
You know how small a
35
particle
grains of
is.
sand.
35 grains of sand.
Mm,
Okay,
but
that's
is
required for a heap.
yeah.
In the comments below, tell us how many grains of sand are required for a heap.
Because 34 would be a handful.
And remember, if we reduce the number by 1 and your definition doesn't change off of heap, then something is wrong and you need to try again.
Where were we in the movie?
So, Puss and Doggo find out that the map to the fallen star is in the hands of
Jack Horner.
Jack Horner, who's played by that comedian, John Mulaney.
I can't believe he made a bounce back like this. After everything that happened to him, I'm glad he's back, actually. I love John Mulaney.
Oh, what happened?
He got a divorce, and he turned himself into, what's the place people go to get better at things? Like if they have, like, addictions. There's a...
Cool. Oh, rehab.
Yeah, rehab, thank you. He went to rehab for his drinking problem, and...
Oh.
Yeah, he doesn't have his wife anymore, which sucks, because I loved his comedy specials. It just feels weird to go back to watch them now when he's just like, yep, I got a Jewish wife, I got one. It's like, well, you did.
Let that one go, did we?
Yeah, it sucks, because like a lot of his comedy specials, well, one of his comedy specials had talked about his wife a lot, and then his girlfriend too. So it's like, yeah, it's cool that he does that, but it's also like, I can't really rewatch it anymore.
I understand. It's hard to watch Kevin Spacey movies.
True.
True.
So true. But yes, Jack Horner's played by. He has a name.
John
Mulaney, and he does a pretty good voice acting. Like it's his voice, but he's at least putting a little something in there.
It's a little different than his voice. It was something where I'm like, oh, I recognize it, but then after finding out who it was, I wasn't like, it wasn't obvious.
Like he has like a little bit of like, I want to say like a tinge to his voice.
Yeah.
But yeah, he runs like a bakery, and he has 2 people come in with the box with the wish in it. He has it opened, and Puss is about to take it when Kitty Softpaws arrives, who was in the first movie and was a character. And anyways, let's move on. She kind of gets like this film's really good at like not having to have watched the first one, because I remember you paused it and you're like, do I need to know who this character is? I'm like, yes, but don't worry, they explain it in the movie. Do you feel like you got enough for the character to know what her deal was?
Yeah, I think it might have been. It'd probably be a little better having seen the first one, but I think you can watch this movie on its own, no problem.
Because it kind of touches up on what her whole shtick was, which is basically like, yeah, we had relationships and we had a pass, but you're a piece of shit.
Right. Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, I didn't actually have anything.
Oh, okay. Take from here. They start
Okay.
arguing, trying to decide who's going to take the map, and before they can finally decide on someone, the the bears appear and break through and kind of ruin the surprise of them trying to be sneaky about it. They have another fun fight scene and then a chase scene. Um, and once again, like Puss does something nice for everybody by like throwing some gold to distract the guards and have him and his party of three now keep moving. And this once again, the whistling from the wolf appears because the wolf was standing like right there watching. Um, and it's fucking amazing. It's an amazing moment because it's just like out of left field. He's just there. Like you're like, oh, Puss is doing great. He's fine, and the wolf just appears. He's just there. They try to do something similar in the first movie with Humpty Dumpty. There's like a moment where like it's revealed that Humpty Dumpty like betrayed Puss in Boots. Um, and no, don't stop. What happened was Humpty Dumpty. He says like a line like "I was always there." Um, but it's like scenes that were in the movie that they replay, and then he's just there now. Like they reveal that he was behind something or like standing somewhere. Like it's seen as like a comical bit, but it's not as effective, you know?
Right. By virtue of it trying to be funny, it's like it doesn't have the same dramatic effect.
No, not really. No. Um, was there? I was talking about this because of something. God
Oh,
bless
the
it.
where he knocks all the gold off and then
Right,
the
the
wolf is
wolf.
there.
Yeah, the wolf is almost always somewhere in the scenes. Not always, but like during fight scenes, he'll be there. Which is interesting because he's like basically being like, "Yeah, you can't get away from me no matter how much you run,"
Hmm.
which I think is very, very scary.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
it's really effectively done in this, I think,
Hmm.
because he after he starts the whistling, like he just sticks out.
I also love the fact that
Like they're in a city and it's dark and am I lagging? What's going on?
no, I mean you stop for a moment.
Oh, okay. No, that was weird. Like my Discord stopped lighting up.
Oh, okay.
Hmm. Okay. Anyway, uh, yeah, it's like a dark city and it's lit up by like red lanterns essentially. So everything's kind of like a gray off red in darkness, but then there's him in his in his hood and cowl, and he's just like black, super dark.
It really makes them pop out. Yeah, because the area they're in is very reddish. It's the red and blacks, but then him to pop out like I think his eyes are still like pure bright red, which makes his black pop out even more.
Yeah,
Like I came out being like, I think the design's okay, but like after this rewatch, I'm like, okay, I get it. I get how he's definitely threatening. I didn't think he wasn't, but I like the design more.
yeah, I really like the design.
Mm-hmm. Um, and he does this cool thing where he takes two of the coins and puts them over his eyes, which I was like, that's a nice, neat little reference too to the fact that in some cultures people give two coins to those who have passed away to pay for, you know, to pass the river Styx,
Hmm.
which is a nice little another again because you're not supposed to know this yet, but it's a nod to the fact that he is death. He's like taunting Puss with that movement.
Yeah, like I said before, it's like it feels like a payoff really that reveal because
Mm.
it's just a bunch of like death symbolism throughout, and then yeah, it's like oh he is kind of like the embodiment of death
He
entirely.
literally is just death, yeah.
Yeah, so that's like oh
Which is a very
nice,
fun reveal. It's not just he's just a bounty hunter. He's like a legit
right?
threat, something you can't
He's not
beat.
some just some guy.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, they have the map now, and they start heading off to try to find the location of I think the Dark Forest. Which when they arrive there, they have this like the entrance is like an open mouth. Can my Discord please stop going off?
Are you getting pinged or?
Yeah, I'm getting pinged. I
Are you in streamer mode?
I meant to keep it on, but I pressed disabled by accident. Now that's the second ping that's happened. I'm sorry,
Oh
folks who
no.
are listening. Your discords are not going off. Do not be afraid, my child. Noah is messaging you on Discord.com. But yeah, when they go to the entrance of the forest, it has like this like open mouth and eyes looking down, um, which is really cool. I like that a lot. Then they go in and it's just like this colorful, bright pastel colored place.
Yeah, they even make a comment on it. They're like, "Huh, Forest of Darkness, huh? All
Mm-hmm.
right."
I think she says like, "Oh, I should have had my quinceanera here." Um,
Oh yeah.
mhm. um, and they start like trying to figure out how to work the map. Um, they both have Kitty and Puss both have like really shitty like pathways, but the dog they have has this like super easy. They're like, "Oh yeah, fuck it, you can just lead. Yeah, you'll be fine. You lead for us, and we will protect you." Yada yada yada.
Oh yeah.
And while they're doing that, Jack Horner earlier was collecting all of his magical items to try and go with them, like to not go with them, but to stop them. And the three bears are after them too. So it's like a three group chase, basically.
Yep. We got three factions or
Yeah.
groups.
With the one we were following all three, but like we mostly follow Puss because obviously it's his movie.
Right.
But like Jack Horner and his group get stopped by by the flowers. Like so, at this point, Puss, Kitty, and the dog go through the like a flower garden called Pocket Full of Posies that they have to like stop and sniff. But
Yeah. They,
The base Jack Horner is just like, fuck that. We're gonna cut all these down.
yep. I'm gonna burn them all.
Mm-hmm. Before he burns them, he pulls out my favorite character, which is his conscience. It's a little locust. Well, not locust. What is it specifically? It would be.
I guess it's meant to be a cricket.
Yeah, but we can't. They can't legally say it's a cricket because if they mention conscience and cricket, I guess they were afraid that Disney might do some shenanigans.
Disney's coming after him.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting too because like this is the fourth this movie came out when like three other Pinocchio movies came out last year.
Yeah.
So it's very strange. There's a lot of Pinocchio references in this. There's the fact that Jack Horner's backstory is connected to Pinocchio being more popular than him.
Right.
There's the cricket. I think
That is kind of funny seeing as when this came out.
there's another reference to Pinocchio, I think, somewhere. I just can't recall where. The voice actor who voices the cricket is named Jiminy. I think so.
Yeah.
Ethical.
That's
sorry,
awful.
it's Kevin McCain. The bug's called Ethical Bug. I'm sorry. I thought
Ethical bug.
his Ethical Bug, which is a very good workaround to not get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was something specifically. No, I thought I saw something that said something about that. No, I guess I didn't read that right. Oops, might be. All right, I told a lie on the internet. Please don't hate me.
Ugh, canceled.
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well. Oh, here you go. The Ethical Bug's voice sounding like actor Jiminy Stewart. Oh, the voice actor's supposed to sound like Jiminy Stewart. Got it. Okay. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I read. Thank you, IMDb.
You're my hero.
You're my hero. But yeah, his whole basic thing is that he's just going around. Well, the cricket is going around Jack and being like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't do this." And I want to say I fucking love the concept of this character because people have talked about this online. I want to talk about this too. Jack Horner is just a villain. He's just a douchebag. Like he's not He's not redeemable. He's not a good person. He doesn't have good reasons for what he does. And people are like, I'm so glad this is in the movie. But no one talks about how great the bug is for that, right? The bug
Oh
is
yeah.
supposed to be like the audience be like, well, maybe there's something that's redeemable with him. Maybe there's a good part of him. Maybe he truly is a good person, right?
Right.
But the Jack's just not. He every single time he says something, it's something like douchey. The only good thing he's ever said was at the beginning when he said that the batch of pies were delicious. That's it. That's the only compliment he's ever given anybody in this entire movie.
Yep.
And because of that, it becomes more and more clear to the viewers and the audience that like, yeah, Jack Horner's just a terrible person. People have been doing the
Oh
meme
yeah.
of like, oh, it's Steven Universe and Jack Horner met. No, you don't need that. The bug is already there. The bug does that for you. The bug
Yeah.
is the reason for like, like for you to be like, oh, Jack Horner's a shitty person. Yes, yeah, that's the point.
Hmm. Yeah. I agree with all that.
Mm-hmm.
I like the bug a lot. I like how even it doesn't even start with like he doesn't open with like maybe you should give this up and just be grateful with what you have. The first thing like advice he gives is shouldn't you like help your men? Like you're losing a lot of people
The first thing is
here.
just like, you're losing a lot of men, Jack. And his
Yeah.
response literally was like, I'm not really worried about them. It's like,
It's like
bro,
you're not even like a good bad guy, like loyal to your men or anything. Just
no.
you're the worst.
And
I also
what's
like that he says, "Well, because he's asking him what his purpose is. And he's like, "Well, I judge you." It's like, "Whoa, okay." He's like, "I judge you based on your actions. I'm your conscience." I was like, "Oh, all right, I like it." Yeah,
neat. Anyways, and just
yeah,
pulls out the
neat.
Phoenix, uses a flamethrower.
Yeah, just,
Uh, which, Chad move, honestly.
oh, of course, yeah.
And
Burn the
besides,
plants.
we already have our kind of sympathetic villains, which is like Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Yeah, they get like a whole arc.
Mm-hmm. Which is very fun. I wasn't really expecting that. I was kind of just expecting to be just another like character for Puss to have to deal with. But by the end, you
I was,
kind of feel more for their character.
yeah, I was expecting I don't know if it's a trope, but like the group of bandits who are
Mm.
like only together because they are like, stealing stuff together. They don't really care about each other and they're happy to like backstab.
Mm.
But this group's not really like that. Uh when when they're running on the road and Jack Horner knocks them off the road with like the Excalibur
Well, more
mom
like Excalibur and a rock.
right. Excalibur with a rock on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Mama Bear like screams Goldie and like catches her so
Mm-hmm.
that when they fall they like tumble
It's
and
clear.
she's okay.
It's clear they have a very clear repertoire with each other.
Yeah.
But it just seems like, and the thing is, I thought I was going to hate Goldie. So like the reveal is that everyone obviously is going to get their wish. Goldie's, Jack Horner's wish is just to have all the magic in the world because he never had any magic because he was just a nursery rhyme. Which is a very fun. But sorry, I know I'm trying to talk about one thing. I'll come back to that. I gotta focus on this. Goldilocks' wish is to basically get a real human family. Puss is to get his lives back, and Kitty is to get someone she can trust. Like that's basically everyone's goals and aspirations for this movie. Um, but the Jack Horner wish of the nursery rhyme idea, like that whole nursery rhyme, not fairy tale, I that's such a good idea for the Shrek series, right? Like instead of it always being about magical creatures, some people just get fucked over, and it's like their stories aren't even that big of a deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's such a smart take on a villain for like something in the Shrek canon, you know?
Yeah, I think so.
But where was I? But yeah, basically everyone's wish is their goal in the film, and what they want by the end.
Yeah, and we'll see how all this play out.
Mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, Goldilocks and the Three Bears are like all trying to get the wish. I think they get the map. Like all three of them, all three factions meet up at one point, and they're trying to get the map from each other. At this point, Puss is like in the middle of the fight. Like people are exploding. People are literally dying because Jack's just shooting arrows at them, or not arrows. Sorry. Um,
Unicorn
yeah,
horns.
baby
Baby
unicorn,
unicorn
baby
horns.
unicorn horns, and they're just
Just
exploding.
unicorn horns wasn't enough.
Yeah. Um, they just keep exploding, and like in the middle of it, Puss has like a panic attack, like a straight up, just straight panic attack, um, and decides to just run out of the fight because once again, death is there staring at him during the middle of the fight.
Hmm.
Because of that, they lose the map, and the
You
Goldilocks
know
and the
the scene.
bears get it. Yep. It's been on the internet all over. Like that's why I wasn't really worried about spoilers because so much of the movie just got like dropped as soon as it dropped or came out.
Hmm.
Um, and the panic attack scene is probably one of the coolest things I've seen this year in theaters, just because of how well it was done. Like talking about like mental health or like any of those issues on like movies for like a younger audience is always seen as like very very dangerous, right? Like that's something
Yeah,
you really touch on just because it's like you don't really know if it's gonna land or not.
yeah. It takes definitely takes skill to be able to land the message you're trying to send through.
Mm. And
And
good.
I've heard that this is a very good portrayal.
As someone who has had panic attacks before, yes, it's very very realistic. Like you start to lose focus. You don't really know where you're at. You start to like become over exhausted. You start breathing too heavy. Like everything that happens is very much to the point. Like even when people are talking to you, you don't recognize it because you're just so lost in this like thought of, oh god, oh my god, oh fuck, oh my god. Um,
Right.
it's very hard to talk about it, and this film makes it very easy to talk about it because it's a good jumping off point. Um, and what I love is that Perito, which is the dog, he had talked about beforehand he wanted to be a therapy dog, and in this scene he kind of shows how that works by having him just lay there with Puss, and sort of comforting him during the moment. Um, and it's interesting because I actually there is a interview with the Puss's voice actor Antonio Banderas. He was interviewed about the scene and he mentioned about how to kind of get into the headspace of it, he tried to grapple with his own realization that he might die soon as well. Like he kind of got into the headspace of oh god, I'm going to die one day, and then kind of
Right.
pushed himself into that position of the role, which I think is a fucking kudos to him. I guess that's fucking amazing to do that. To kind of grapple with his own thoughts and anxieties of what will it mean to keep living and like leave a legacy.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no,
but
it's crazy what like some the places like actors and voice actors will be willing to go to like portray the character that they're working on.
I mean, Mark Hamill did that for the Joker, right? He heard like Mark Hamill has come out and said like he will never replay the Joker unless the voice actor from the Batman the animated series comes back, because to him it's not the same. It's not the same Batman and Joker because it's not the right Batman.
Mm.
Which I think is like weird, like it's in character for him and it makes just a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I know Christopher Judge, the voice actor for Kratos.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which scene in particular, but for one of the more powerful and emotional scenes in God of War Ragnarok, I'm pretty sure he like walked in the studio and he was like, "All right, I've only got like 2 takes of this in me, so if I can make sure like everything's turned on and like the sound equipment's all set up right, because we're not, I can't do this very much." It's like that's pretty that's intense. I respect it.
Yeah, I'm seeing right now. There's a video about it. I wish I could watch it, but the white Christopher Judge broke down in tears. I can mute. I'll mute and take a look see at this while you talk about. I guess. Well, where are we at?
Uh, Doggo's calming him down. He talks about how he needs the wish to get his lives back, and they find Softpaw again.
Mm. And he also explains to the dog that Kitty keeps mentioning this place Santa Maria or Santa what? Santa something?
Santa something.
Yeah, ho 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 and whatnot. She mentions a place, and Perito thinks, as we all do, that it's like a bad heist or something. And Puss is like, no, 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 it was a church. Like, we were gonna get married there, and I left her at the altar because I got scared. And like this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing about how like he broke her trust and he feels terrible for doing that. And that's been Kitty's whole thing, which is very nice to have like a character who's like, I need to learn to trust people, but it not just be her saying I need to learn to trust people. She doesn't keep saying it. She shows it with her actions of being like, no, I'm not letting you hold the map. No, I don't listen to you. I don't trust you. Here's why you shouldn't trust people. And every time Perito's just like, I trust you. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Right. Well, he's seen as our wow, and the words left my head entirely.
He says are like innocent bystanders, sort of.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't know
Ignorant
what's yeah,
is
he's
the word I'm looking
ignorant.
for.
Yeah. Um blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
Like he literally talks
That
about his origin story about him being thrown into an ocean with a sock and a rock. Like he was trying to be killed.
right.
And he was just like, "Oh, those silly goobers."
Right. These pranksters. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Um
Wild. And after all, I got a sock, so like it was a good trade.
yeah. It's a fun design, honestly.
I was
Um
thinking about it earlier. I was like, "What is he wearing here? Is it like a sock, or is this like a sweater that was like knit specially? What's going on?" And yeah, it was nice to get that.
mm, um
Um, I
but yeah,
wanted.
he Puss sorry, go ahead.
Nope, keep going.
Okay,
I forget.
Puss explains that like he felt bad for that, and he was just the Peridot's just like, oh, then just apologize, tell her straight up that you're sorry. And then the next scene, he does that. It's not like a walk around where he's just like, oh, I don't know if I should tell. He just tells her. Like he
Yeah,
takes his therapy dog's advice, which I think is so important. It's important to do that, and not just walk around the issue.
yeah, no, I agree. It's probably no time better than now.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
There,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, something I like about her is granted, I haven't seen the first movie, so
Mm.
I don't know what happens to her there, but it's not like an internal character flaw of hers that she can't trust anybody. It seems to be that she has good reason not to trust anybody,
Yeah.
or at least this is what I'm getting out of it. Because like, Puss would have been the one, but then he's like, abandoned her at the altar. So, and she's like a thief or rogue type, so it makes sense that she's like in unsavory groups and wouldn't find anyone she'd be able to trust. And she's like clearly very good at it because Puss in Boots is legendary, but she still like keeps up with him just fine. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like what I draw out of it is she's a character who can have pretty much anything she really wants and sets her mind to, but it's like after however long she's been at this, is the thing that she realizes is she just wants someone else
Mm-hmm.
there who she can trust.
In the
And
first movie,
I like that.
in the first movie, it was very similar of her character. Her character is very much like the same sort of tone. Um, but because I didn't see it, it didn't feel like retreading, and it still felt because it's just like she thought she could trust Puss, but then
Right.
he ditched her at the altar, which she didn't even go to. But she was like, I knew I could, like you just in too love with yourself that I couldn't do anything about it. By the way, the Christopher Judge scene I just saw, damn, I should
Yeah.
fucking play these games. Damn.
They're good games.
He talked about how it's because like in the scene he had to think about like how he might not be around to see his kids when they grow older, and about like
Mm.
how it's important to know that as a father, and he kind of put that into perspective when playing the Kratos, which that's fair, that's smart.
Yeah, no. Absolutely.
Mm. Um, but yeah, back to the movie. They go. I mean, they kind of have this emotional scene together, and they go to the bears. Who at this point they Goldilocks finds a book, which also is apparently a reference to the first movie, where like at the orphanage that she was at, one of the characters had that book. It's like implied that they all shared it or something. But I don't know. It's whatever.
Her little fairy tale book.
Yeah. And it kind of shows that she wanted to have like a real human family, which kind of gives more of that hint of what's the wish. She keeps telling them that they're going to get a wish, but she never clarifies what the wish is. They keep using like birthday rules or whatever.
Oh, she says pretty early on that she's like, it's gonna be the wish that makes everything just right,
Mm-hmm.
and the like that jumped out to me immediately. I was like, that's pretty vague. Which and this kind of helped with the idea I had that like maybe they would just be like a band of thieves who are like not afraid of backstabbing,
Yeah.
because it's, you know, I can't think of an example, but I'm sure we've seen this before, where the leader of the group is like, oh, this is gonna be great, and then they like make away with the
Well, yeah, it's always like the
uh
liar reveal trailer or liar reveal trope.
exactly, yeah.
Sorry, I'm watching the trailer for the movie. That's why I said trailer. Oops. Oh my
All
god.
good.
In the trailer when they're showing the fight with the beast, they remove Death from the corner where he's waving, like in the wave. That's
The
kind of cool.
beast.
What? The giant.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's kind of
That is
cool.
cool. Um,
Go ahead.
I'm looking at it again. When she picks up the book, there's a library card in it,
Yes. Yeah.
and it's got Goldie written all over it. Also Hansel and Gretel, but
Yep.
yeah, Goldie's named a whole bunch. And I really like the line Mama has where she says, "Oh, that used to be your favorite book. You'd spend hours just staring at it." It's like, oh, like that's a neat little like, she didn't really understand what was happening here, did she?
No. Yeah. It's very clear that like, um, Goldie has aspirations to be. Oh, interesting. That Goldie really has aspirations to be in a real family, but what she doesn't realize that her real family was there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like she finds that eventually, but like to put it in perspective, like she isn't happy with her current life. Which it seems strange because they seem like a good family. She just wants a human family. But it's
I
weird
think
'cause
it's
I
I think it's just like the classic, you're not realizing what's right in front of you while you're longing
mhm.
for something else.
That's just weird. I thought I was gonna hate Goldie at this reveal, like the reveal that happens. It happens here in a sec because like Puss and friends get the map back. They get separated, and we'll get into that in a second. But Goldie and her family, she like tells like, "Hey, I want a real family." And I thought I was gonna hate her for that. I was like, "You have a family who's with you. You literally had the dog explain to you that like that you won the lottery when it comes to being an orphan. Like you have a family that loves and cares for you, even if you guys bicker at each other." Um,
Right.
but I didn't because I kind of get it. I kind of got where she was coming from. Um, like wanting someone that like she can trust and hold on to. A lot like Kitty Softpaw. She's like, I want someone like close. Um, and Mama Bear still, to her credit, it's like if that's what you want and make you happy, then we can do that for you, sweetie. And that's like a
Right.
like even if they like that's a real sign of a family member, right?
Oh, absolutely.
It's a very good scene. But as for them splitting apart, yeah, Puss and Kitty get split because Kitty goes to rescue the dog, and Puss gets stuck in like a mirror glass temple thing.
Yeah. Um, I forget what they call it, but yeah, they get the map back from Goldie and the Bears, and yeah,
Hmm.
he looks at the map to try to. Oh God, there was a reason. It was like a spur of the moment, like to look at the map to try to. Oh, that's right, to try to get the dog, Burrito.
Mm.
He looks at the map to like try to, because they've been separated by the ground splitting in half. And so he looks at the map, and that's what traps him in the sort of crystal cave.
Mm-hmm.
The Cave of Lost Souls.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Go ahead.
And oh, it's just she says she'll go find the dog, and he says he'll find a way out of the cave. They kind of like they're on separate sides of glass, but they hold up their paws, and it's nice. Goes inside, finds 8 giant crystals, and they've all got him from his previous lives.
Yep, and they're kind of talking and chatting with him.
Oh yeah, they're hyping him up. They're like, "Ah, look, it's the legendary Puss in Boots."
And while that's all happening, they're all singing and dancing, which gives them time to have the scene with Goldilocks and Kitty Softpaws, as like the dog is rescued from them, and then the reveal of Death being just there in the glass with him, and he starts destroying the 8 other versions of Puss, and talking about how he's just straight up Death. Like he brings out like you've basically fucked over each and every one of your lives. So I'm just gonna take this one. You don't really want it. You're not gonna use it properly. You're just gonna waste it. And it's pretty fucking terrifying because he's like breaking all the glass and like not even caring, like hearing the screams of Puss. He's just like, oh, that's neat. Breaking the
Yeah.
glass. It's fucking wild.
Oh yeah. It's real good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you... I guess then we get our moment. Kitty and Purito catch up to them, or catch up to him, but he's still running away from Wolf. So, or should I say Death? And they assume that he's betrayed her again.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps going and manages to find the last wish, the fallen star. This is where the bear conversation happens that we've already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, it's real good. The mom's like crying while she says, "If this will make you happy, then we'll make it work."
Yeah, it's very emotional, but they all end up going to. I guess we didn't really talk Jack Horner. Jack Horner's basically lost all of his men.
Yeah, twice actually.
Yeah. Um, they all die comically as like they get more background about Jack Horner and like kind of finally solidify that you're just an irredeemable monster, uh, and he gets rid of the cricket finally. And he's going there too with one last baker to help him in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so now we have everyone here. Everyone is at the star. Kitty's is like, I thought I could trust you, but you're a piece of shit. And just Puss opens up to her completely, going like, "Listen, I'm sorry. Death is literally after me. Like he's coming for my head." And she kind of is confused by it. She obviously
Rightfully
upset.
so.
Yeah, rightfully so. But then once he explains that Death is literally after me, she's like, "Oh, what?" And then the fight happens. And the fight scene itself is great. Like the fight scene with everybody is really good. I think this one's also still in like the low frame rate. Jack Horner's being like a cheap bastard trying to shoot things with lasers. The 3 bears are trying to save themselves, and Death appears finally once Puss has the map again. And this is like the big moment where like Puss is like, "No, I'm done running. I'm going to fight you, Death." And he fights him with his blade that Death brought to him, and like a little knife that Kitty Softpaws gave to him, like a tiny little dagger, like a tiny little thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's important to mention the first time Death interacted with Puss, all of his 9 lives were flashing before his eyes. In this one, it was just like he points out, like, no, it's just this life that was flashing. And it kind of gives the feeling that like Puss now has something to fight for. Beforehand, he was fighting just because it was fun. Now he's fighting because he has like friends he cares about and like a small little family. So
Hmm.
his like fighting is way different. He's way more aggressive and assertive in the combat. It feels like Death has to quickly switch to a more defensive position, but it's still pretty even. Like, it's a very fun and fluid to watch. I love the fire that surrounds them too, to kind of give you the sense of like there's not a lot of space to work with.
Yep.
Make sure no one else gets in. It's really well done. The one, like it ends with Death kind of realizing that Puss has changed, because you can't really kill Death. It's not how that works. And
Right.
Death just kind of walks away and goes like, "I'll be back for you later, but you get to live for now, cat."
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he's changed everything
mm-hmm.
about himself pretty much.
He's kind of like a realization. But with all that being said, there is one thing people talk about. That people say that the next scene is Jack Horner reveals like there's been like this thing where he has like little treats that like are clearly
Uh,
supposed to be from Alice in Wonderland.
Real quick,
Yeah.
before we move on from the fight with Death, I think like the one of the last things he says is he's like, "I came here looking for an arrogant little legend who thinks he's immortal," and then like Push just kind of stands tall. And he's like, I don't see him anymore," and that's when Death leaves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, it's very good. It's very good. This
Yeah.
film's very well written too.
Yeah, no, I think it's all really well done.
Mm.
Story's not like unnecessary or overly complex or anything. It's a fairly straightforward tale, and it's very well done, I dare say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But cut you off, Jack Horner.
Jack Horner was revealed to have his treats. Gets big, and people were wanting to. People were saying that they should have done the reverse of the ending, where they fight Jack Horner first, and then Puss has to fight Death. And I'm like, I don't see why, right? If
Um.
if
Hmm.
it feels like the fight with Jack Horner is important for Puss's character to happen afterwards. Otherwise, he would have still wished for the 9 extra lives, because they rip the map apart, so that way no one can get the wish, because they all kind of got what they wanted. But it's the idea of Puss having the map and being like, I can make my wish now if I'm fighting Jack Horner. It just doesn't make any sense of why you would reverse the two. I get Death as more of the important villain. I feel like the Jack Horner fight is just there to kind of give payout to realizing that Puss has now changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right.
There's a important scene where like it points out that also Puss is very alone during his travels of like being this big legend. I think that's in the mirror. That's in like the temple, right?
Yeah.
Um, and he kind of realizes too that he wants someone to go with him everywhere too. That's why he doesn't like. Yeah, he could live this legend all he wants, but he could just be with his friends. And I think that's important to his character. I think it's important to have Death first and then Jack Horner. So, like I said, just for the payout of it.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have the help of Goldilocks and the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Like
This is where
this
everyone's
occurs
character kind of wraps up.
right. This is after everyone has concluded they don't need the wish,
Mm-hmm.
because it is sort of a point that in the arena with the wolf, he has the map, so he
Mm.
could make a wish.
Right,
But
but
yeah,
he chooses not to because it's
I
like,
know.
yeah. So I like the ending they went with better. Because the Jack Horner fight at the end is also very fun. They have like a very fun little joke, and then he kind of once they rip apart the map, he tries to recollect it. It gets incinerated by the phoenix and the cricket, and the movie just
Hmm.
kind of ends there. Like they all have their wrapped up moments, and it's implied at the end that they are off to go to far, far away. And by implied, I mean they literally show far, far away in the distance.
Yep.
So setting up for Shrek 4, right? The fourth one, because there's no third. Well, there's
Yeah,
the
I guess it's
third.
got to be the fourth one
It's
then,
got to be the
because
fourth.
yeah, Shrek 1, Shrek 2, and
Forever After.
yeah, exactly.
Um, but yeah, it's a very well made, well animated, and very fantastic film. Like I said, the only real problem I had was just the Goldilocks parts. I didn't really care for their jokes, but I like the character themselves.
Yeah, yeah, impressed with them
Mm-hmm.
personally. Like I was expecting them to do so much work there. They get a lot of character work done in their hour and a half. It's impressive. So we have
Yeah.
like quite a few characters that go through arcs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, something I don't know if this is intentional or not, but Jack Horner, like after they beat him, he's like sinking into the star,
Mm.
and it ends with like just his arm being outside of like the, I guess you could say like the rebel of
Mm.
the star, and like he does sort of a thumbs down thing. I'm that could be in reference to when he like jams his thumb into the pie to like test it and see if it's good. I it made me think of the end of Terminator 2.
I think it's supposed to be both. I think it's supposed to be like a reference to Terminator 2 and the pie thing,
Hmm.
which makes
And
sense.
I am in favor of a reference to the Chad Terminator 2. Absolutely.
I also like I had another thing. Oh, this movie's not afraid to swear. Like it censors it, but there's a lot of swears.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, like it's so out of left field because you don't really expect to swear. It happens, I think, in the first Shrek, um, but not much else, right? Like it's just very out of left field to just be like, oh, they're just saying like you if you know what they're saying, you know what they're saying.
Right.
Um, and the other thing too, I was gonna say that I wanted to point out because I was watching, like I said, I was watching the trailers for this. In the trailer for the movie where they show all the deaths, they have a secret seventh death they show where he's like fighting a sumo wrestler. They don't show the one with the gingerbread with Gingy. That was like a reveal
Oh.
for in the theaters,
Ah.
which I think is very
Okay.
nice. Also, they have the death cards different too. They have a different design for the death cards
Oh, so they worked really hard to make sure that you don't have anything
ahead of time.
spoiled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just have the
Good.
wolf be. Yeah, they did a very good job balancing to make sure like nothing got spoiled while also having the movie like kind of get you interested in everything.
Yeah.
They showed what they need. They also, I'm looking at it now. They don't really show anything about the like in between like the beginning of the movie and the ending. Like they showed like the star and everything, but they don't show like how he gets there, which I think is very important. Also, the fight with death they don't have the fire around him either. So it
Huh.
seems like it's a very nice trailer realization. I'm realizing. Well done, DreamWorks.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Edit trailer episode to talk about how good this trailer is.
Another trailer episode. Damn, if only this came out like
Another
a
trailer
year
episode.
before.
Yep. And
But
we saw the trailer.
with that all out of the way, James, what are you gonna give this one?
Oh. Oh. Give it 4 out of 5 unicorn horns. Baby unicorn horns.
Good, good. I'm gonna give this two boots.
2 boots.
Two boots
I
on a
like it.
cat, yeah, and maybe a sock for a dog.
And you know what?
Mm-hmm. I don't.
I for the sake of consistency,
Mm.
um I have a grievance with
Oh.
Boots throwing the sword overboard, and then Perito running after it. I know it's a funny joke because the dog's chasing a stick somebody just threw.
Mm-hmm.
But
At the end of the movie, you mean? Or no, in
there's
the middle of it. Yeah, yeah.
in the middle, yeah. 'Cause, a lot of bad stuff happens because of that, and
Are
that's annoying.
are
That's a little convenient, a little
are
contrivey.
are we doing an advertisement? Is this a lead into an advertisement about like
Oh,
saving
should it
dogs?
be?
I
What?
don't. I mean, we're not sponsored yet.
That what?
I thought you were. I thought you had some. Oh, you have a meme for me. Oh,
Oh yeah, there's a meme for you too.
thank you. I
This was just
appreciate the
this
meme.
was just sent back by my friend Aiden.
I
So.
greatly appreciate the meme.
Mhm.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. How do we do outros again? I have a Twitch. I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 10 to 11:30. So check me out there.
Yep, go to twitch.tv/watchmeforever. Cole
No, no, that's
makes
not.
makes episodes
No, no, that's
of
not.
pixelated Seinfeld
That's
there.
not.
Yeah,
No,
he's really good. He works
that's.
around the clock. It's actually
Mm.
insane.
Actually, Pat does it all. I just freeload.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
classical.
Classical.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.